put on a really good show, don't they, Miss Beautiful? I said as we both laughed. Then we went outside and flew in the sky for a while and then over to another continent. We decided to go to a new place with an ethereal beach where the water is a transparent bluish color. It is a huge ocean of softly rolling waves that come to the shore and push their way onto the translucent surface. We sat on the whitish diamondy sand, which had a soft glow to it. I always feel so amazed at what life is, and this place proves it. On Earth, the sun is a verification of the is, but most people have no clue as to what is taking place. It takes a lot for anyone to expand their awareness and to see how everything is in its place and right in front of us. But to have the best view, understanding, and perception, one must pivot from the all is, and not just the parts and particulars found in the lower areas of creation. Nothing is automatically done or adjusted, as there is a learning curve to all things, because we are to experience the total view of something, while at the same time going through the smaller parts of eventually gain the awareness to standing in a broader position. This wonderful place sat all by itself in an endless sky, or so it would seem as we stood on it. There were other beings around, but mainly in the parallel dimensions where this area was situated. Isn't this place great? We have it all to ourselves always. After that last dramatic piece with Gerald and the influence, it's nice to be away from it. I will be glad when my time is up on the earth and we can have our lasting life together, Miss. I am only putting up with all I write, so as to provide a motivation for those who are so stuck with the psych realms. I know it takes a lot for anyone to get out of the Callum matrix, and so in this book and the ones to follow, I shall make this adventure very interesting, as the blind humans on the earth have produced a future which will reveal a whole lot to those paying attention. I said, as Ursha put her arm around me. We will still have a lot to do after you leave the earth, because Rebazar is moving on, and you have to handle his position with me, of course, she said as she smiled. Of course, Miss, you are the heart of me, the great light of reality. We stand together in all of this. I'm so glad you can put up with all the silliness these three little people have decided, I said as we held each other. Everything you are doing is so fun and wonderful. It would seem that I know so much, but actually I have learned so much from showing you what you need to know. At least we have the view and the boys, so we don't have to go to the boring library and do our research as you did in school, she said as we giggled together. I looked out over the vast ocean that seemed to blend into the awesome horizon, into which there was the ever-present mystery of something always being beyond whatever I knew at this very moment. I am constantly experiencing that unknown quality that is real and always now. Ursha and I were very content with being here. There were beautiful and playful dolphins in the water, swimming and diving among the small waves that came onto the shore. At this level of life, the scenery is very extreme and vibrant, actually the most it can be in the psych realms. With my real awareness, I can do so much more than I can on the earth, and have a much better lifestyle with everything. Being away from the physical body is a joy to know, and not just to be a physical person only. Ursha and I walked along the shoreline and watched the giant white birds that sailed along the waves, as do the pelicans on Earth. When we returned from having more fun than we should have, we went to the View and watched the next scene with Gerald. Crony did not answer the door right away, so Gerald went into the shower. Just as he walked out of the shower, and all bare to the world, Crony actually kicked in his door and walked up to him. "You almost killed me, you soaking rat," she screamed, and began to laugh profoundly, then turned and stormed out of the bathroom. Gerald was all red with embarrassment and quickly grabbed a towel and dried himself off. Crony had went into the kitchen and was banging things around a lot. Gerald finally came out and moseyed on over to the kitchen and took a seat at the table. Crony looked over at him as she was preparing her toast. She would give him a wicked stare off and on, then giggle a bit to herself until she laughed out loud and yelled, "You are too much, Gerald. You really think everything can be so easy as you have had it all these years? It's time for you to grow up and see what this world and life is really all about. I'm not going to deal with your reluctance anymore because the Callum God and his subordinates are very worn out from dealing with you," she said, as she buttered her toast and took a bite as she was staring at him while chewing. "Okay, I get it. I will concede because I really do not want to be thrown into the bottomless pit ever again," said Gerald in a low tone of submission. Crony looked at him with a long stare as she chewed her toast and said, Well, the great master concedes. Are you sure you have come to your senses?" she asked as she bit into the second piece of toast and chewed on it. "You are right, Crony. I do not have a choice, as I have already made my choices. I can see where my intent is, and that is with you. And as long as I want to be with you, then I now know I must accept everything that goes with you," he said as he sat patiently. "Now you're being a good boy, just like you have been all along, Gerald," she said as her mouth was full of toast. "I will do some research on what you are into to bring myself up to date on everything," he said as he looked like a tired old fish out of water. "It's all over the internet, Gerald. It's not that hard to know what this world has come to. I only want to survive, and the new order is only picking certain people to be with them and survive, and the others will be drones and prisoners. Most people will be working and slaving for the ideals of the elite. They are allowing me in because of my relationship with the influence and the Callum God. You will be taken care of, so all you have to do is babysit the membership and keep them passive, and Jake and Pewter, along with the board, will do the rest in their dreams," said Crony as she finished her toast. Gerald slowly got up and went to his room and turned on his computer. He spent the rest of the day looking at numerous websites and taking notes, which he is good at. Crony went about her daily affairs at the corporation, and so it was seen that all was well for now, with the little world of the Crony and Gerald show. "Look, Ursha, there's a message for me on The View," I said. She looked to see what it was. "It is from the physical realm, and the other Dwayne. I will bring the scene up," said Lou, as I watched while the personal self was opening a letter from the state contractors board. In it, the letter was referring to my state contractor's license renewal because of my situation with someone I knew who I made president of a corporation we had together. I remember that situation, You duplicated your contractor's license and gave your friend at the time a position of president of his corporation. He did a job without your knowledge, one he shouldn't have, and got himself sued, and so your license is on hold for now," she said. "Exactly, and my bonding company sent me the bills they had accumulated with their lawyers to deal with this lawsuit. I am telling the little Dwayne to write a reply to the contractor's board and get the application fee back. And I will deal with all this sometime in the future. It would seem that I have to go through every type of test imaginable, I said. That is because the boys want you to always be the best, she said as she kissed me. Are you going to continue with the Crony and Gerald show, or is Rebazar going to continue on with the Ultimate College course? I asked Ursha as we both giggled like school kids. We checked the view to see where Rebazar was, and he signaled for us to get back to Gerald's movie, and so Lou set the view back down into the physical realm as Gerald and Crony were getting ready to go to sleep. Crony was standing in Gerald's room as he lay under the covers all tucked in. She was talking with him. Tonight, Gerald, we are going to another meeting with the elitists. You want to attend all of them, because with these people you will learn the most as to what is taking place on this earth right now, she said as Gerald looked at her, but didn't say anything and did a slight nod of agreement. Crony went back to her room and sat in her bed. She began to chant something peculiar and mixed the hue with it. Then, to my surprise, a holograph-like image of the dark-sidedness of the influence appeared. The scene reminded me of Star Wars, where Darth Vader conjured up the Emperor. There was a silent communication going on between them, and the view brought about what they were saying with the sound. Hello, Crony. Nice of you to call on me. I can see that our little friend is bending to our desires, and I can tell he is still resistant, but that's normal for all humans, as this physical world is the hardest place to understand anything. You have done your job very well over the years, as Gerald is not the real focus here, but the membership is, along with the recognition of what you are doing. The Callum God is very pleased, and you shall be protected by the new order. Enjoy your evening with the elite, as I will be around somewhere as always, she said as she slowly disappeared, and Crony turned off the lights and went Betty by. Well, Miss Beautiful, this should be an interesting evening at the make-believe ballroom, I said as we laughed. We could see Crony leaving her body with the astral form. Even though the corporation talks about what they call soul travel, all of them have become limited to the astral levels and not the real universes where Paul originally wanted the members to aspire to, so all they can do is astral projection. Crony went through the wall and into Gerald's room. Get up, Gerald, we are going, she said in a rather demanding voice as Gerald took his time with his astral body. Yes, dear, I am coming, he said as he rose above his bed, and she grabbed his hand and pulled him along. Gerald and Crony were soon once again in the gloomy gray area like before, until they came to the ancient-looking place where they entered. Mr. A was there to greet them as they came upon the gargoyled structure. Well, well, here we are all together again. How nice. Please come in and join us, as the meeting is just beginning, he said, as they walked into the big room with many others staring at them and found themselves a seat in the gloomy darkness. I could tell that Crony was very amped, as Gerald looked almost dead, as they both sat motionless and listened to the speaker. Lou and I listened to what the main speaker was telling the large group who was in attendance. I am not going to write about what took place here at this time, because it is far too much for most people to see, and some of it is being implemented now, and so we will have to wait to see how everything comes about into the physical level. The elitists also have a tough time implementing their plans on the earth. But time is on their side because they live for thousands of years and retain their memories of their previous experiences. The human history that all of us have been taught is way off the mark as to what really took place in the beginning of this planet and how it was colonized. The belief systems have created little cutesy stories about the idea of Adam and Eve and made it all sound so good and entertaining, and that's all it really is, entertainment to keep people busy with nonsense. After the first speaker, there were several other speakers. Then everyone took a break and got up and went for refreshments as Crony took Gerald over to speak with Mr. A. "Hello, Mr. A," said Crony with a rather charismatic voice. "That was enlightening as always. Don't you agree, Gerald?" Gerald, still feeling rather awkward, said, "Oh yes, I find all of this amazing to say the least," he said in a dry mannerism. "Mr. A, can I ask something rather personal?" said Crony as she smiled and openly flirted with him. "Why, yes, of course, Crony, go ahead," he said as he smiled at her. "I know that I am saved from what will be happening, and also Gerald, but is there any chance I could also include some of my staff and a few of the membership, as they have been very loyal to me?" she asked, and rather held her breath until he answered her. "I understand what you are saying, Crony, as I have the same situation, and so do a lot of others here. I put the same basic question to the officialness of this group, and they told me straight out that if I could get those people I knew to come to the meetings and agree with this cause, then they would be saved and protected. So I am telling you the same thing, and that is if you can get your colleagues to come here and join us, then they will be taken care of," he said as he smiled. "Great, that is great. Did you hear that, Gerald? I can see us getting a lot of members to agree," she said to him. "Yes, dear, that is good," said Gerald, kind of like Frankenstein when he ate the soup and had the cigar. "Ha ha, you already know how to do that, Crony. I have seen what you have done in the subconscious area with most of your membership and your staff. So I would say that you will have no problem bringing a lot of them along. Besides, most people are more favorable to a fallacy than any substantial reality. And just as we took care of Jesus and many others in the past, then set them up to be worshipped, as we merely edited everything that had taken place, the end result is a much better sounding scenario than what really took place anyhow, and most people love it. That is how your membership sees you and Gerald. The two of you have replaced any reality that Paul Twitchell brought forward in his time. And like all the others, we took care of him too," he said. That is some of New Book 5 of the Adventurous series by Dwayne the Great Writer. You can become involved in the projects like the Total Universal Rainforest and the All Solar Research Vessel and the Nations United Universal University and homeschooling and whatever projects are for the benefit of all. This opportunity is being offered on Earth right now. So if you're ready, check it out, see if it makes sense to you. I'll end the show today with the new song that if a person tests it for themselves for like 15 minutes each evening before they go to sleep, 15 minutes or so when they wake up in the morning, see what life shows you. New you. See ya.